What's going on, guys? It's Josh Snipes here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be showing you guys a brand new way how to play Maestro. Before I start that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support, and thank you guys for watching all these videos. Last video did really well, and so I decided that I've been using this trick for a while, and I really wanted to show it to all of you. So I hope you guys really enjoy. Now let's get started with the video. So the new way I play Maestro is you play his gadget from above. You can't do this on every single map, but all the maps that have 3 or 4 stories pretty much, or at least 2 floors in a basement, you can do this with. But basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be shooting out the floor above it, or the ceiling above it, and it's going to give you a nice angle down onto the hatch. Now, a lot of defenders use this to shoot out the pellets, Hibana pellets, or shoot thermite charges, anything like that. But then I realized you can actually use Maestro's Cam to do this. Now, the only thing is you can be countered very easily because there's nothing really to defend your Maestro Cam when it's off site. But you might be able to catch someone who's not really suspecting this. I don't know how well this will work at high diamonds or high plats, but in the lower ranks, this actually might get you a lot farther in the game because a lot of people don't drone as much. But you can see right here, I have a perfect line of sight. If anyone's going to shoot Hibana Kairos from outside, they're going to have to take out that Maestro first. They don't really have a choice. So it could A, slow down attacks, and B, if they don't even see it when they're trying to do it, they're going to be stopped. And I mean, it's a waste of utility. Let's say if I got 4 or 5 out of the Hibana pellets out of the 6. So if you get 4 out of the 6 Hibana pellets, the hatch's not going to open. They'll put holes, but it won't open. So I'm just going to go through the video here, show you guys different ways that I have found that you can cover hatches. Now, not all of these hatches get used a ton, and not all of these hatches are very practical or get reinforced. But I figured I'd just go on my adventure. And I honestly didn't take this long to find all of these, but I knew where the hatches were on most maps, and I make sure to show you guys that on each time I go on a new map. But I'm going to kind of talk about the significance of Maestro and this way of play. So here you're going to see, I don't know necessarily if people use that hatch a ton. They open it to get it open, but they might not use it unless their push is really concentrated on construction. Then they'll use both. But I actually was going around and trying to find hatches, and it helped me explore the maps a lot more. Here you're going to see on Hereford base, there's not too many hatches that are actually used for, say, attacking or anything like that, because there's not too many hatches into sight that you can actually defend. But there's a couple hatches here and there that might end up in sight, especially in Hereford. But I'm going to go upstairs, and I'm really just trying to run around and explore the map and figure out what can I do, what can I not do. Figured out immediately I can't because there's no roof above. I'm pretty sure it's a balcony that goes onto the 3rd floor. And then I tried to sneak into here and see if I could maybe find something, but the roof actually ended up being completely solid all the way around. So I was unlucky there. But I'm going to keep moving on, and I move over to the other side of the map where I saw that last hatch that goes down to basement, and I actually found out that there is wood above it. So I try to shoot out the wood, give myself kind of a place marker where I should be, and I'm going to go upstairs and make sure to kind of find the hole. And I mean, honestly, the whole point of this idea is you're finding angles to stop the hatches, but you can also use this to stop people from pushing. I'm going to show how to do that on a later map when I do Consulate, but you're going to understand that you can use this for more than one thing. This idea, this technique of using Maestro is totally versatile and very useful in the way that I've been playing Maestro recently. Especially maps like, say, Oregon or Chalet. I've been using this, and I've been seeing a lot of success because a lot of people don't see my Maestro cams right away, so it's kind of hard for them to contest it. Now, I didn't find too many hatches on Hereford that actually had a soft floor above them, so this is the only one I really found that goes from the top floor down into the 2nd floor. So unfortunately, not every single map has completely wooden floors. So with that being said, it makes it a lot harder to find exactly what I can and can't do. I don't want to put the Maestro in the same room as the hatch because that's a little obvious, and obviously I'm using the AA12, so the holes that I'm making are probably way bigger than the one that you'd be using, because you'd probably be using Maestro's LMG. I usually use Maestro's LMG anyways. So here I'm just pointing out all the hatches that are downstairs, and there's actually 4 hatches that go down into bank. But it actually ended up being that 2 of those hatches in the back and back lockers you can't even open up from above. So you can't really defend them unless you're standing on that floor. or I guess if you put a Maestro right next to it. But the whole point of this is to kind of find sneaky Maestro spots that not many people will actually check. And plus, if you're opening hatches like I'm doing here, you're going to actually cause a lot of people have to drone upstairs to make sure there's not like a Cav or an Ella or someone like a Vigil roaming upstairs, because that becomes a problem if you don't drone anything out, and that you could have someone flank you at the last couple seconds. So here you'll see not solid at all. And I really do think that this is an interesting design on the devs part. And it's interesting to think that this is all very intentional. What's soft and what's hard is completely intentional. Although I don't think they had a Maestro idea when they made the maps, I do think that all of these changes and things like they have done are totally intentional, especially a lot of the changes on Hereford base. It's not necessarily bad to have every single floor be able to be open. So here I had a little trouble trying to get up onto here. And I was just trying to find a way to get up on here, and I kind of found this little spot that you can run up onto. Now this Maestro actually is, I'd say, half useful, because you can only see the top half of the hatch from right there. You can't see very much. So if you put a thermite, you can probably zap the thermite, but you probably won't be able to get a Hibana charge, because I don't think that you could see all the pellets, especially if you put it like bottom right from where you're facing. But here I was trying to see if I can find another angle onto that hatch inside open area, but I could not. I knew that there was an area where I could put it here and actually shoot a hole down into it. Now again, this is an AA-12, so I'm opening up really big holes, but the whole point is that you want to make really small holes with his like kind of shotgun pistol that he has, and with that thing you can actually make some tiny holes that he can shoot through. Now lastly on bank, I wanted to point out that you can actually put a Maestro up on this, and I didn't like pre-record this or anything when I was trying to figure all this stuff out. I was just kind of running around bank and trying to figure everything out. This Maestro is actually very useful for kind of overseeing everything that's going on in here. And let's say if you open the hatch, you might be able to see all the way down into servers. Now moving on to Chalet, we actually found that there were a couple hatches that go down into the basement, but I'm going to focus on the ones that go into the objective, because there is one or two that go into the garage right here. But I don't really want to focus on those because there's no sight over there, so there's no real point in kind of reinforcing them unless you're going to play in garage. Then that's a different conversation. But I found that there is a complete wooden floor above that hatch, and I decided to run around and find the other hatch that's over here. I don't think that on Chalet, people use hatches a ton. I don't think that there's too much of an advantage to be gained from them. A lot of the hatches are kind of, you can only stand on one side. You can't go all the way around them. So you usually end up falling down the hatch or something if you're not paying attention. Especially that hatch in the corner, unless you're trying to dispatch someone in that closet area, there's no real use to opening it. But this bar hatch is actually a little bit more useful, because if you lay down, you can actually see into the wine cellar and all that. So this Maestro actually might be a lot more useful than the other ones that I show on Chalet. But with that being said, you can only get like half the hatch. There wasn't really too much room that you could get the hatch, although you could probably break that base and shoot it from there. Next, this is the one I was talking about. On Oregon, I use these a ton. I use these all the time. I usually put one Maestro on site and one Maestro above the kitchen hatch. A lot of people seem to not see that I have a hole above there, which is bad on their part, because if I was sitting up there, I could shoot them. But let's say if I just have my Maestro up there, people aren't paying attention. And it's even worse because I'll zap, say, a thermite charge or a Hibana cart or just someone aiming from the hatch, and they really won't have a clue where it came from unless they see this giant hole gaping from the top, which I would normally think that someone would go check out why there's a hole up there, or at least drone it, but more often than not, it's not getting droned. So with that being said, you can actually cover a lot of the hatch with this Maestro Cam. And I really do think that this technique of using Maestro is very useful, but the only problems that you might run into is Thatcher can counter you, Twitch can counter you. They don't destroy the Maestro, but they do in fact disable it. But the people who can destroy it, you can get destroyed by the grenades from Zofia or Ash. You can get destroyed by frag grenades. You can get destroyed by sledge. So it's like there's a lot of ways for you to get destroyed. But honestly, if you can get like a set of Hibana Kairos or maybe a thermite charge, that's a pretty good trade, because that means you just took off a lot of utility for that team, especially if it's a thermite charge, because then they only have one more left. But usually Hibana's trying to get the hatches, so I would guess more often than not that Hibana Kairos are probably what you're going to be seeing on those hatches, not so much a thermite charge. But with that being said, I really do think that it's really important that you guys come up with different strats that people don't think of. This is something I've been toying with and kind of playing with just to see if it really works, and I have found that it works a lot. It actually works a lot, especially when you're playing ranked, because not everyone's a super coordinated team that's complete all diamonds and they play in like pro league or challenger league. So you do have to be wary about that, about if a team is coordinated. But with a coordinated team, there's always going to be mistakes, and with your team, there's probably always going to be mistakes. So you really want to use this as a way to capitalize on those mistakes. Bad drone work and any sort of thing like that where you don't know if someone's up top or don't even see the Maestro when you drone, those are huge mistakes that people make probably way more often than you even realize, especially if you're solo queuing or something like that. Let's say no one's talking at all. That's huge mistakes. So I'm going to show you guys here that how to kind of set up your Maestro so that you can get these hatches. Not only the hatches though, but you can actually defend from upstairs with a Maestro. So let's say if you're playing lobby and you want to defend the front door, people usually use the front door. They'll smoke it off, plant. But Maestro's Cam, you can see through that smoke. You can't spot, but you can see through that smoke. So as long as you blow out the floor like you'll see me do here, you can see all the way to the front. And I think that this might introduce a new way to play Maestro and kind of introduce a new way to handle sites. I don't really think you need Echo for every single site. The problem that Echo has that Maestro doesn't is that you can't see through smokes with an Echo. You also can't stop plants with Maestro, but you can do some damage and kind of ward people off from trying to plant, especially if it's in the last couple seconds and say that person got shot a couple times. You could probably down them or probably kill them with the Maestros, especially if you're playing, let's say, down in the basement on this map. I usually put 2 Maestros facing the garage door because I don't want anyone thinking that they can plant. If they take out one of my Maestros, they might not have seen the second one. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that me commentating over this, I hope that me talking over this is really helpful. I didn't want to bore you with, oh, this is the new next spot, blah, 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 blah. I just wanted to talk over it and talk about my reasoning with this. But with that being said, let me know if you want me to kind of show you guys more tactics like this and more things that I've kind of figured out, because I usually find a lot of this stuff on my own and I just end up using it throughout my game to game, and it doesn't really matter what map it is. I usually will try to see on each map if it actually works. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked that video. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any video suggestions down below. I know this probably wasn't asked for, but I'm sure that someone will use it. Anyways, this is gonna be Josh Snipes signing off.